Well, the food forest absolutely exploded with fruits. These are the ones I picked just before a big storm came through, and now we've got a massive amount to deal with. So today I want to show you some of my favorite ways to use up an overabundance of fruits, and also show you some of the cool things that I made from the fruits I harvested during summer. Lots to do, we better get started. With the sheer amount of fruit we have, particularly feijoas, I know I can't get through them all myself, especially with more still to come. So the first natural choice is to offload a bunch to others while they're still nice and fresh. Got a bag of persimmons here as well for a friend. Got the doggies in the back, so let's go. First off, some to drop off to my family, some for a local food pantry too that anyone can help themselves to. We'll drop off a box to my local gym, plus a few more to give away to friends. Now that we've got a few less to deal with and slightly less overwhelm, let's chop up a bunch to dehydrate. The persimmons I'm doing as whole slices with the skin on, and they've got a pretty cool pattern inside. But I've got my dehydrator here, so let's spread these out on the trays. As for the feijoas, I'm going to do some with the skin on and some without, because the skin is edible, it's just a bit of a tart flavour, but we will taste them both when they're done and see the difference. I'd also like to dehydrate some Cape gooseberries, since I have been picking lots of them. These are husk fruits. You can see they've got this protective papery layer, and once you peel them back you get a bright golden berry inside. They're kind of fun to give to the chickens too. It's also a bit of a natural enrichment for them, since they have to work out how to tear through the husk to get to the tasty fruit inside. So let's dehydrate some, but we'll save the rest for another thing I want to make later in the video. Let's dry these at 55 degrees Celsius for around 9 hours, and we'll check back in when they're done. The next thing we're doing is a traditional oven bottling method, which is quite commonly done over here in New Zealand. So I'm using some of my peaches that I harvested in autumn, and we'll do some feijoas that way too. After washing the fruit, I'm slicing it up and just leaving the skin on. Here I've got a couple of different peach varieties, so I'm mixing them in the jars. It gives a nice mix of colours. For the feijoas, I'm peeling them and then slicing them quite thick, and adding some lemon juice too to prevent them from browning. I've run my oven-safe jars through the dishwasher just to sterilise them, and I'm placing the lids in some boiling water for the same reason as well. Now I can pack the jars with all of this fruit, and then fill them up with boiling water from the jug. The fruits are fully submerged, so I can place the lids on and add the canning ring, but only just loosely at this stage so air can escape. These can now go into a preheated oven at 140 degrees Celsius for around 40 minutes, or until you see bubbles forming in the jars. Once they're done, I carefully just tilt the jars to help release any trapped air, and then take them out of the oven. And I tighten the rings fully at this point and leave them to cool completely. As they cool, the lids should suck down and they'll be ready for pantry storage. I'll use these on muesli, in desserts, or just as a simple way to enjoy seasonal fruit year round. The liquid is nice too, great on muesli or in desserts as well. Next up, let's whip up some interesting types of jam. For the first one, we've got some pears, and I also picked one of my prickly pears, so I want to make a jam using them both. I've already rubbed off all the little spines, and these are incredibly vibrant fruits, so I'm hoping it might turn the jam quite a nice colour too. After peeling and then blending it, I'm straining out the seeds just to keep the juice. For the pears, I'm peeling them, coring them, and then I'll add these to a blender with some lemon juice and pulse them until they are like a rough applesauce texture. Now into the pot, we'll add our prickly pear juice, and I'll cook this down on a medium heat for around 20 minutes until the pears have nicely softened. Now I can add the sugar and bring it to a steady boil for around 25 minutes or so. And towards the end, I'm adding a bit of vanilla, which I think will pair nicely with the pears. To test if it's ready, you can drop a bit of the mixture onto a frozen plate and just leave it for a minute and see how it will set. Now I'm happy with that, I can pour the jam into preheated sterilized jars and screw the lids on tightly. And as they cool, the lids will suck down and seal. While that one's cooling, let's move on to a second jam with another interesting flavor combo to try. With this one, I'm using Tamarillo as the main base, which is a type of fruit that's both sweet and tangy. I'm also grating some apple for some natural pectin to help it set, and a bit of lemon zest too for extra flavor. I'm basically following the same process as the first jam, cooking down the fruit, then adding the sugar, and boiling it until it reaches a setting point. This jam's turned out to be such a nice color, but let's give them both a try. This first one I'm calling prickly and pear jam. and the color did fade a little bit as it cooked, but let's taste it. You know what, I've never had pear jam before, and that is actually very, very nice. I love it. Now for the Tamarillo apple and lemon jam. Also very nice. Not as sweet as the pear jam, but quite a nice complex flavor. So love them both. Okay, the dehydrated fruit is ready. It's still slightly flexible, but there's no moisture when you press it. These are so good just to snack on, or you could use them to decorate cakes or add to homemade muesli. The feijoa with the skin on is slightly more tart than the one without the skin, which I actually quite like, but both of them are equally really nice. I also dipped some of the half persimmons in dark chocolate, and these have got to be my favorite. They are so yum. Oh, that's good. Such a good texture. It's like chewy, pliable, persimmony and chocolatey. Look at that. So good. So with the huge abundance of peaches and figs and feijoas this year, freezing them is of course one of the easiest ways to store them for later use, as long as you have the freezer space. I just freeze them on a tray first so that they're free-flowed and they don't all stick together. I mostly use them in smoothies or to make sorbet, and interestingly the figs, while they're frozen, are actually nice to eat just like that. You can bite through them pretty easily, and they have a really interesting texture. The frozen peaches and feijoa though are so good if you first blend them up, and then you can either add a bit of soy milk or plant-based cream, just enough that it comes together, and it makes kind of like a healthy version of ice cream. It's honestly so good. So I'm going to add a bit of our dried fruit too, and a bit of date syrup for extra sweetness. So creamy, so good. Delicious. Before we move on to the next thing, we can't forget to share some of the fruit with the animals. Come on, sheep! Oh. Good girl, good girl. Even with all the leftover feijoa skins, the sheep will eat those too, or you can compost them as well, that's quite good. Hello, mister. Or one thing that you can make with them is what we call feijoa fizz. It's basically a lightly fermented feijoa drink. So I add the skins into a big jar and then top it up with water and a few tablespoons of sugar. I make sure to keep the skins submerged and loosely covered, and then I'll leave it in the pantry for a few days just to start that fermentation process. 3 days later now, and I'm straining out the skins. It smells very feijoa-y. And bottling the liquid with a bit of extra sugar for the second stage of fermentation. Then it goes back in the pantry for a few more days before then chilling it in the fridge.
So time to give it a taste. It hasn't really gone that fizzy. I think it might be because it's like late autumn, so the temperature, like where I had this, wasn't super warm. So probably if it was warmer, the fermenting happens like a bit faster and causes it to be fizzy, but that's all right. Let's give it a taste. Very nice actually. It's quite tangy. You could even sweeten this a bit more, but it's actually quite a refreshing drink, especially on a nice sunny day. Very nice. I like it.
By the way, I just wanted to take a quick moment to let you know that I have just launched YouTube memberships as another way to help support the channel. So there's a range of perks on there, from custom emojis to loyalty badges, as well as priority reply to comments. And then in the second tier, you'll also get access to members only videos if you're interested in that. So it's basically like what I share over on Patreon, behind the scenes videos of the food forest, videos with the animals, or harvest and recipe videos. But if you already support me over on Patreon, nothing changes over there. I just thought I'd open up YouTube channel memberships as a way that people can kind of choose whichever platform they prefer. Check it out by clicking the join button below. No pressure at all either way. I really appreciate you watching my videos on YouTube, and any other support is really appreciated as well. All right, let's continue with the video. The next thing is probably my favorite thing to do with my homegrown fruit, and that's to make fruit leather, or what some of you might call fruit roll-ups. It's pretty simple. You basically just chop up your fruit, whatever kind you want to use, or you can mix and match, but what I'm doing is making a fruit puree. So for the peaches, I'm using skin and all, so I'm cooking them down first until they fully collapse before then blending them up. With softer fruits though, you can just blend them up fresh with a bit of lemon juice. I'm doing mine in a dehydrator and just lightly oiling these sheets, but if you don't have a dehydrator, you can also do it in the oven. So I would just get a baking tray with a bit of baking paper or even a silicone mat, put on your fruit puree and spread it out, and then place it in the oven on a pretty low temperature, like around 60 degrees Celsius on fan bake, with the door slightly cracked open. And it should take anywhere from 5 to 8 hours, depending on how thick your fruit puree is. So just keep an eye on it and you should get a good result. Anyway, let's get this puree all spread out, and I'm using about 2.5 cups per tray. I thought we could try something a bit creative too, since I have red and orange peach puree in separate batches. So I'm not sure how this will turn out, but let's make some fun designs anyway and see what happens. Okay, that looks kind of cool. Let's do one more. This is actually so satisfying to do, but we'll come back shortly and see how it turns out. In the meantime, there is of course lots of different ways to use up homegrown fruit in all sorts of baking, from pear cobblers to feijoa and date muffins, feijoa cake, and as for right now, why don't we make some little fruit tarts with Cape gooseberries and tomatillos. This is a really simple tart shell that I'm making with flour, chickpea flour, vegan butter, maple syrup and salt. We'll press that into our little trays and bake them until they're a deep golden colour. The filling is really simple too, just the Cape gooseberries, sugar, lemon juice and salt. And while this is cooking down, I'm also going to add some lemon verbena leaves just to infuse that in, but we'll remove those again before we're done. Alright, it's looking thick and glossy, so I'll let it cool slightly and then we'll fill our tart shells. I'm serving it with some of our tamarillo jam that we made earlier and a bit of coconut yogurt. That's how the filling is looking. I actually really like that. The flavor is mouth-watering, honestly. It's an intense flavor of sweet and sour and tangy and real tropical flavors, which, you know, all come from that Cape gooseberry. The yogurt does cut through that sort of richness and sweetness really well, and the pastry is nice and crispy too. It is freezing out here. I'm going inside. Since I have a few tart shells left, I'm making the same recipe again, but this time using tamarillos instead. That is so good and definitely brings out the tamarillo flavor in such a good way. Alright, time to check on the fruit leather. You'll know this is done when it feels firm, slightly tacky, but with no wet spots. By the way, if you do ever over dry this and it becomes brittle, you can just leave it out for a day or so and the air moisture will just slightly rehydrate it, just enough to be pliable again. I like to cut mine and then roll it up like this, but you can obviously just do it whatever shape you like. As for the feijoa leather, it did end up having cracks all through it, so I'm just going to rip it up and store it in pieces like that. And I kind of like how that looks anyway, and it is just faster to shove into the jars like that. I did actually try another batch where I cooked the feijoa down first to reduce some of the moisture, but honestly I had a pretty similar result, so I have managed to roll some of it up anyway, but honestly even when it's just like this I quite like it. Just grab a piece and it is so yum. Such a good flavour. Oh my god, so good. So good, Snowy. Snowy's here to say hello. But how about the patterned peach leather that we made?
Ooh, okay. There we go. So interestingly, there is actually some sort of gaps just in between the layers a little bit. Like the same with this one. So probably I could have smoothed it out a little more or something like that, but still, it looks pretty awesome. So let's roll it up. Why does this look like bacon? Vegan bacon, maybe.
So stoked with how all of this has turned out. Let's give this one a try, the peach leather. So tasty, such a good little snack, and I like to have these before I go to the gym because it's a nice little natural sugar boost. Hello, Snowy. Well, that was a lot of work processing everything, but I'm super stoked with all the things that we were able to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you have any suggestions of your own, feel free to drop those in the comments. Also, let me know what you thought of the video. I'd be keen to hear your thoughts or your comments. And if you want to see me again, make sure you're subscribed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Also, give the video a thumbs up, really appreciate it, and we'll see you all soon.